What if I told you there's a ticking time bomb right beneath one of America's most beautiful national parks? Millions visit Yellowstone every year for its stunning views, but few realize they're standing on top of a sleeping giant. Deep below the surface is the Yellowstone Super Volcano, one of the most powerful volcanoes on Earth. If it ever erupts, it could reshape not just the US, but the entire planet. So what's the real story behind this hidden giant? In this video, we, the big picture, are diving into the science, the history, and the terrifying what-ifs of Yellowstone's supervolcano. Could it really erupt in our lifetime? Let's find out. Yellowstone, a place where nature's raw power and beauty collide in ways you can't find anywhere else. Spanning over 2.2 million acres, this iconic park is a world unto itself, with dense forests, crystal-clear lakes, winding rivers, and surreal hot springs and geysers. Travelers flock from every corner of the globe, drawn to its untamed majesty. But Yellowstone isn't just a national park. It's a ticking time bomb, sitting on top of one of the largest and most dangerous volcanic systems on Earth, the Yellowstone Super Volcano. But what exactly is a supervolcano? Well, it's not your average volcano. It's a beast of nature, capable of unleashing an eruption so massive that it can spew over 1,000 cubic kilometers of material into the atmosphere. And Yellowstone? It's no stranger to these catastrophic events. In fact, Yellowstone has experienced 3 of the most devastating eruptions in history. The first one happened 2.1 million years ago, and then the second eruption happened 1.3 million years ago. And the most recent one? That occurred 640,000 years ago, and it was huge. The explosion sent so much debris into the air that it blocked out the sun over much of the continent, and it formed the massive Yellowstone caldera we see today. But keep in mind, each of these huge eruptions was far bigger than the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens, which killed 56 people and thousands of animals and burned hundreds of miles of land in Washington and Oregon. No wonder people fear an eruption of this size. However, Yellowstone is not the only supervolcano that has changed history. Around 74,000 years ago, the Toba supervolcano in Indonesia exploded. It threw so much ash into the air that it blocked sunlight for years. This cooled down the Earth and caused a volcanic winter. Temperatures dropped and finding food became really tough. Then there's Taupo in New Zealand. It erupted about 25,700 years ago, and the blast was so intense it reshaped parts of New Zealand's North Island. Ash covered everything, making it hard for plants and animals to survive. And right here in the US, the Long Valley Supervolcano in California erupted 760,000 years ago. It left behind the Long Valley caldera. But it's not just the US. Supervolcanoes have popped up in Japan, Indonesia, and South America too, leaving behind massive calderas. These monsters have changed climates, wiped out species, and even threatened humans. They might seem quiet today, but deep underground, they're still full of power. And that brings us to Yellowstone. Though it's been quiet for thousands of years, Yellowstone is far from asleep. Beneath the forests and geysers, it's always alive, rumbling with earthquakes, shifting ground, and bursts of geothermal activity. Scientists are watching closely, keeping track of every tremor, every movement. Right now, they assure us there's no sign of an eruption. But can we really trust that? Let's dive into the unsettling details revealed by the latest documentary from the USGS. Earthquakes are common in Yellowstone, and the most recent activity in February 2025 was no different. The University of Utah seismograph stations recorded 42 quakes in the area, with the largest being a magnitude 2.6 on February 11th. There were also 2 notable earthquake swarms in February. The first, from February 1st to 8th, included 18 small quakes southwest of Mammoth, with the largest at magnitude 1.6. The second swarm, on February 11th, saw 11 quakes, with the biggest measuring 2.4. These swarms are fairly common and don't necessarily indicate an impending eruption. Scientists also track Yellowstone's ground movements using GPS stations. Since October 2024, the Yellowstone caldera has sunk slightly, about 2 centimeters. This slow subsidence has been ongoing since 2015, so it's not a sign of a coming eruption. Meanwhile, Yellowstone's geysers and hot springs remain as active as ever. Steamboat Geyser, the tallest in the world, erupted just before midnight on February 3rd, 2025. While these eruptions are thrilling, they're simply part of the geyser's natural cycle and don't signal a volcanic eruption. Also, new imaging techniques have given scientists deeper insights into Yellowstone's underground magma system. There are 2 main reservoirs, one deep and one shallow. Although magma moves between them, there's no sign of any dangerous pressure buildup. The Yellowstone Volcano Observatory, or YVO, monitors the area around the clock and hasn't found any signs of an impending eruption. But what if Yellowstone erupted again? Just imagine waking up to a world plunged into chaos, and news breaks that Yellowstone Super Volcano has erupted. Panic spreads like wildfire. What would this mean for the United States and the world? How doomed are we? Well, a full-scale eruption would be beyond catastrophic. The areas closest to Yellowstone, Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming, would be devastated. A thick, suffocating blanket of ash would bury everything in its path. Buildings would crumble, roads would crack open, and breathing would become a struggle for survival. And as the ash clouds consume the sky, the impact would spread far beyond. Even just a few inches could bring entire cities to their knees. Highways and airports would shut down, power lines would snap, and water supplies would turn toxic. Life wouldn't just stop, it would fall apart. Ash would also blanket the farmlands of the Midwest, choking the earth. Crops would rot before they even had a chance to grow. Cattle would drop dead, and Americans would be left fighting for the scraps in their local grocery stores. Supermarkets, from Walmart to Whole Foods, would be emptied in hours, and desperation would spiral into violence. Shelters would overflow, but there wouldn't be enough food, fresh water, or medicine to go around. Hospitals would be overwhelmed by people struggling to breathe, and the economy would collapse. But the eruption wouldn't just affect the US. The whole world would feel the impact. Massive gas and ash clouds would block sunlight, plunging temperatures into a volcanic winter. Crops would fail worldwide, and food shortages could spark famine. And this isn't just a theory. In 1815, Indonesia's Mount Tambora erupted, causing a year without summer. This led to mass starvation, with 49,000 to 90,000 people dying from hunger and diseases after the eruption. The Yellowstone eruption would be even deadlier. But what's being done to prepare for it? Let's take a look. The Yellowstone Volcano Observatory watches the volcano closely. It tracks earthquakes, ground swelling, and heat changes. The U.S. Geological Survey is also involved. It collects data and issues alerts if needed. And if Yellowstone shows signs of a mega eruption, FEMA steps in. They help with emergency plans, evacuation routes, and disaster response. Their goal is to keep people safe and assist in recovery. However, evacuating people would be an enormous challenge. With millions living near Yellowstone, roads could quickly become gridlocked. Ash could make travel dangerous, and we might not have much time to act before an eruption strikes. So can we prevent or reduce the impact of a Yellowstone eruption? The short answer is no, at least not with the technology we have today. The forces deep within the Earth are just too powerful to control. But some ideas are floating around, like NASA's concept to cool the magma by pumping water into it. But these are still just theories and haven't been tested. However, early warnings can be a lifesaver. Planning ahead means we can recover more quickly. If we know an eruption is coming, we can evacuate people, stockpile supplies, and minimize damage. Buildings can be designed to withstand ashfall, while reinforcing roofs and air systems will make them more resilient. Stronger infrastructure and roads to handle ash will also make a big difference, while emergency shelters will provide safe spaces for those affected. These preparations are crucial, but many of us still wonder about the chances of Yellowstone's supervolcano erupting. While the odds are extremely low, experts estimate an annual probability of about 0.0014%, so it's highly unlikely to happen in our lifetimes. Smaller events, such as hydrothermal explosions or lava flows, are more probable than a massive eruption. These events are less destructive and more manageable. Not to mention, if anything unusual happens, YVO will catch it right away. Right now, their data shows no signs of an impending eruption or volcanic threat. Yellowstone also has natural ways to release pressure. The Norris Geyser Basin, one of the park's hottest areas, constantly vents steam and hot water. So to wrap it up, Yellowstone's supervolcano is under close watch, and experts agree an eruption is unlikely anytime soon. As it constantly releases pressure, the risk of a sudden explosion is minimal. Sure, the idea of Yellowstone erupting might pop into your head, but hey, freaking out won't exactly stop a supervolcano. So, instead of panicking, soak in the stunning views and appreciate the raw beauty of this amazing natural wonder. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more interesting videos. As always, thanks for watching.